99% of creators can't find their niche. Why? Because they can't find themselves. Reality is a mirror. Your external world reflects your internal one. If you're lost internally, you're going to feel lost with how you present yourself to the world. If you're being inauthentic to your true self, you're going to feel slimy, shady, and struggle with burnout and depression along your creator journey. So why do so many people struggle with finding themselves and staying true to their authentic self? The simple answer is society. When we were kids, we were pure potential. We could become anything we could imagine. Some kids wanted to be astronauts, others wanted to be scientists, others like myself wanted to be professional athletes. But the problem is this childlike wonder and curiosity gets beaten out of us by society. We're told to be realistic and pick a major at 18 years old with no real-world experience or self-sufficiency that will determine the trajectory of the next 50 years of our lives. The 18-year-old will proclaim, I'm going to be a banker, or I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to be a lawyer. And by proclaiming these things, they all receive praise from peers, from elders, from teachers, from society. And while these statements seem something to be proud of and are viewed as prestigious by society, that word is disgusting to me. They're actually limiting their potential by attaching their identities to these things. When you declare yourself a banker, you close off learning about health, science, and biology. When you declare yourself a doctor, you close off learning about marketing, sales, and business. When you associate yourself with any niche subject, you simultaneously close off your curiosity to the rest of the subjects. We've been raised and programmed to believe that this is the way that things are. This indoctrination lingers in our minds and our identities for our whole lives. Nothing else contributes to people not living up to their potential more than this ideological, dogmatic attaching to identities. And this is why so many newer creators feel they have to, quote unquote, pick their niche. It's the same exact idea as a first-year student in college picking their major. And here's the problem with picking a niche. Every single human is capable of every single thought. Specialization is for insects. You don't have to put yourself in a box. You're allowed to be multidimensional. You can be jacked physically and intellectually. You can be introverted, but you can still develop A+ social skills. You can practice spirituality and still build a business. Your potential is as high as your curiosity expands itself times your self-confidence. Why wouldn't you want to be a jack of all trades? Why wouldn't you want to be a modern-day polymath or a modern-day Renaissance man? It's possible. The only reason you can't do it is limiting beliefs. That's it. Your potential is as high as you believe it can be. The only roadblock towards learning anything and becoming whoever and whatever you want is you. You are the bottleneck. You have to accept that. The difference between where you are and where you want to be is your lack of skills, character traits, and beliefs. These things are all under your control. And here's the beautiful thing about the modern world. You have the entire library of Alexandria at your fingertips. You can listen to the most intelligent humans in the world converse on podcasts. You can learn any skill in a week through the most powerful university and source of knowledge in the world, YouTube. In the modern world, you can learn anything in a week. But when you label yourself and identify as a quote-unquote copywriter or quote-unquote marketer, and attach your identity to that label, you close off all other opportunities for study, exploration, and exploitation. When you're only an email marketer, learning about spirituality seems like a waste of time. When you're only a ghostwriter, reading philosophy sounds ridiculous. If you assign yourself a label, you're thinking too small. Yes, you might be an email marketer or ghostwriter right now. Those are the things you are doing, but it's not who you are. What are you going to be doing in 5, 10, 20, 50 years? Are you still going to be doing these same exact niche skills? Are they even going to be a thing in the future? Have you ever thought beyond your current identity and your current role and your current title? Do you really want to be a ghostwriter in 50 years? Will that job even exist in 5 years? Maybe not even 50? I'm assuming not. Things are going to be rapidly evolving and changing in the modern world. And so The best way to keep the long term in mind is by keeping your identity small and becoming as well-rounded as possible. There's a quote from Scott Adams who he says, "Every skill you acquire doubles your odds of success." Here's how to create your personal monopoly with this in mind. Let's look at the word or the phrase personal brand, right? It's what we're creating on social media. Personal equals you. Brand equals business. In business, when a company owns an entire market without competition, it's a monopoly. In traditional corporate business, this is technically illegal, but natural monopolies happen all the time. Apple has a natural monopoly over the cell phone industry. ComEd has a natural monopoly over the power industry. Amazon has a natural monopoly over the e-commerce industry. Why do these companies have natural monopolies? Because no one can compete with them at what they're doing. And no one can compete with you at one thing, being you. Naval says, you can escape competition through authenticity when you realize that no one can compete with you on being you. In startup culture, they often talk about creating a strategic moat around your product or service or company that separates you from the competition. In the creator economy, with a personal brand, that strategic moat is you. Your story, your weird habits, your idiosyncrasies, your life experiences, your struggles and breakthroughs, your story. You create a personal monopoly no one can compete with by being uniquely, ruthlessly, and unapologetically yourself. No one can compete with Dan Coe at being Dan Coe. No one can compete with Mr. Beast at being Mr. Beast. No one can compete with Joe Rogan at being Joe Rogan. What separates these individuals from the millions that look up to them? They're being authentic. They know themselves fully. They're entirely self-assured and confident in themselves. This is the real game. It's an internal game. By mastering your inner world, you become inevitable. And once you become inevitable, nothing in the external world is beyond your reach. You can become so good at being you by getting to know yourself at your deepest core while making a more significant impact on your industry, which I'm assuming is the creator economy, and the entire world. The further you go within, the further you expand out. Here's how to do it. Number 1, keep your identity small. The fewer things you identify with, the larger your potential can be. Ghostwriting, email marketing, or sales may be what you do, but they aren't who you are. By avoiding labels, you keep your mind open to the next opportunity that can catapult your earning potential, impact, and reach beyond the scope of your narrow niche. By avoiding labels, you keep your human potential near infinite. Paul Graham, founder of Y Combinator, definitely recommend reading his essays. He says, if people can't think clearly about anything that has become part of their identity, then all other things being equal, the best plan is to let as few things into your identity as possible. That's from his essay called Keep Your Identity Small. Step 2, become a reverse engineer. If you really put in the effort, you can reverse engineer anything from other creators and entrepreneurs. You can reverse engineer their landing page, their content schedule, their product ecosystem, their content ecosystem, their personal website, their lead magnet, their habits, their systems. Then you can start asking yourself questions. Do they have a podcast? Why? What purpose does it serve? Do they seem to comment and retweet certain creators' tweets? Why? May it be that they have networked and have made connections throughout their journey? How can you do the same? What kind of content did they grow their account with? How can you use it as inspiration to grow your own? Use Twemex, Blackmagic, or any other software and reverse engineer why their content worked. You need to become a scientist and question every area of their life. Step 3, shiny object syndrome versus curiosity. This is a really important distinction to make. Shiny object syndrome is getting distracted from your main goal, your main purpose by pursuing other shiny opportunities. But curiosity is exploring interests that will make you more well-rounded, unique, and irreplaceable. Shiny object syndrome looks like taking on a side project or saying yes to a new opportunity, usually because it seems like a good way to make a quick buck. But every opportunity you say yes to takes time, attention, and energy away from your main thing. Curiosity is the opposite. Curiosity is keeping the main thing, but expanding the depth and the width of your perspective. And it's another reason why keeping your identity small is a good idea. By avoiding constraining labels, you allow your curiosity to take you down rabbit holes and increases the holistic value of the main project. You are the main project. Let me give you a quick example. I do performance coaching for other creators and entrepreneurs, but I'm not going to label myself as a performance coach. I mean, sometimes I might just for sake of convenience, but I'm trying consciously to not attach my identity to that role. If I limited myself to that label, reading philosophy, studying spirituality, and reading the biographies of Einstein and Leonardo da Vinci would seem like a waste of time. But by keeping my identity small and realize performance coaching is just something I do, it's not who I am, I can allow my curiosity to take me down these weird rabbit holes and expand my holistic understanding of the world. By reading philosophy, I'm able to better understand how to control myself and my emotions, make connections between multiple fields, and incorporate stoicism into my products, services, and coaching. By studying spirituality, I'm able to zoom out, align with my highest self, tap into the infinite energy source of the universe, and keep service as the main focus of my work, which helps me do better work. And by reading the biographies of Einstein and Da Vinci, I'm able to make connections with how they approach their work, understand how their curious and non-conforming natures were the main drivers of their success, and pick up new perspectives I can apply to my own writing and work. These random interests and many more I have, like flow state, psychology, holistic health, yoga, nutrition, design, personality typology, developmental psychology, all this other stuff, they are what are making me completely unique as a creator. The combination of these interests creates a moat around my brand. But if I was just another performance coach and all I talked about was performance, I would blend in with the masses and be no better than a Google search. Do you see how the combination of your unique interest makes you a niche of one? Understanding the difference between shiny object syndrome and curiosity is key to becoming irreplaceable. Avoid shiny object syndrome, but double down on curiosity. I need to tweet that, actually. Step 4, get to know yourself. You are not Dan Coe, you are not Alex Hormozi, you are not Mark Zuckerberg. You are a completely unique individual. You need to know and learn how you function best. Quick personal example, I used to try and work like Alex Hormozi. I would wake up and start working immediately, eat whatever I wanted as long as it fit my macros, and work 12-hour workdays. And guess what happened? I burnt out because I was trying to be someone I wasn't. I was trying to live and work the same as someone with a completely different value structure, psychological breakdown, and personality type than me. So I decided to change things up. Instead of following everybody's advice, I'd get to know myself and treat each day as my own science experiment. First, I experimented with no alarms. Then I experimented with 10 alarms throughout the day. I experimented with no structure, then I experimented with extreme structure. I experimented doing the digital nomad life, then I experimented living at home. And through all this introspection, reflection, self-experimentation, and iteration, I'm finally beginning to understand how I function best. I thrive on structure, I thrive on a home base, I thrive on a whole foods diet, I thrive on solitude, I thrive on balance, I thrive on a 4 to 5 hour workdays, and I'm still iterating. This week, I'm actually cutting out alarms and I'm just seeing when I naturally wake up, and I'm trying to just flow through life a little bit more naturally, and I'm liking it so far. But it's all an iteration. And I've only come to these conclusions about myself by blocking out most of the external advice from the hustle culture entrepreneurs and turning within and coming to my own conclusions. You need to find out how you work best. You need to view your own life as a science experiment. You need to introspect and get to know your own psychology so that you know the lifestyle that best suits you. Above all, you need to understand yourself. A really cool way to do this that's helped me is taking the Myers-Briggs personality test. And while I know it's not scientifically valid according to university psychology departments, it's still a powerful tool to point you in the direction of getting to know yourself better. Once you take it, I can link it below as well. You can read a report, understand your strengths and weaknesses, and be pointed to other historical figures and people with the same personality type as you. Then you can look up YouTube videos about how your personality type functions best and really begin to understand yourself. I'm an INFJ, and there's a lot of people who are INFJs in the Twitter niche that I'm in. And I've learned through research and self-reflection, like I said earlier, I function best with structure, with solitude, by serving others. That's what gives me a lot of energy. I've learned my unique strengths are perception, quiet leadership, mirroring others, understanding others' emotions and energies, and my own intuition. And I've learned some of my weaknesses are also mirroring others' energies when they have negative energy, being a people pleaser, not doing well with spontaneity, being too hard on myself, and technical details and monotonous work. By learning more about this personality type, INFJ, I'm able to cross-reference these commonly known strengths and weaknesses with my own and better understand how I function best, what strengths I should double down on, and what areas of weakness I can look to improve. I definitely recommend doing the same. You can just find the personality test at 16personalities.com. I can also link it below. Next, number 5, solitude. Solitude is key to self-awareness. If you never spend time alone in the company of your own thoughts, how could you ever get to know yourself? There's a difference between being lonely and being alone. Loneliness implies being with yourself is not enough. But being alone means you happen to be alone, but there isn't necessarily a negative connotation or feeling associated with that. Learning to enjoy time alone is the secret to getting to know yourself. You want to become your own best friend. You want to enjoy your company as you would the company of a great friend. Finding this solitude is crucial to getting to know yourself, but it's often hard to find this space in the modern world with the entire world in your pocket. You have connection to anybody at any time in your pocket, right? And because we don't naturally spend as much time with our thoughts anymore, we need to be intentional about creating this space. Some ways I like to do this, for example, are long walks, taking myself to dinner. I usually do that Thursday nights. I take myself to dinner with a journal and just literally have a conversation with myself. Brain dump journaling is great. Not having meetings on the weekends to create space. Spending my mornings alone working in a coffee shop. These all help me cultivate greater self-awareness, and you need self-awareness to eventually create your niche of one. Next point, number 6, stop listening to advice. No one knows your situation like you do. You have to learn to trust your own intuition and decision-making above anybody else's. That includes your friends, your peers, your parents, your teachers, and even your mentors. If you outsource your decision-making to others, you're also outsourcing the outcome of your life to them. You only learn to trust your own decision-making by making decisions by yourself. Making your own decisions is the only way you'll carve your own path, and carving your own path is the only way to create your niche of one and your personal monopoly within the creator economy. Every great thinker I know has had unwavering conviction about where they're going and how they're going to get there. They'll still listen to the advice and the opinions of others, but ultimately they're going to make their own decisions. That's how they stand out. That's how they become unique thinkers. Naval gave an example of this where he says, "The best founders I know take advice from everybody, but then they listen to nobody. All advice cancels to zero." Point number 7, lean into your eccentricities. Your weird quirks and obsessions aren't bugs, they're features. Each unconventional interest or obsession is another opportunity to stand out as a unique individual amongst the masses of creators. Think about some of your favorite thinkers, creators, or influencers. I bet you like them because of their weirdness, their quirks, and their uniqueness. For example, Naval is unique because he's a startup founder and angel investor, but he's also a modern-day philosopher. Derek Sivers, an author, is unique because he has a combination of business knowledge, musical talent, he has a background as a circus clown, he questions every conventional societal norm, and he has a super bubbly, eccentric personality. A more practical example in the creator economy, Dan Koh is unique because he combines an interest in philosophy and spirituality with online business. Realize this: your weirdness is your vessel for authenticity. Being authentic is how you stand out as a niche of one amongst the masses of copycat creators. Next point number 8. You must build a steel fortress around your mind. Think of your mind as your mental home. In your physical home, you wouldn't let destructive things in. You'd work to keep your home clean, tidy, and organized. But we don't do the same with our mental homes. And it's ironic because our mind is our most important asset. We let propaganda, toxic media, low vibrational pop culture, celebrity drama, memes, and all this shit into our minds for entertainment. But this junk you allow to enter your mind is programming your subconscious whether you like it or not. You need to treat your mind as the most beautiful garden you've ever seen, only allowing things inside that will help it grow and flourish. Marcus Aurelius says, the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. You need to guard your mind carefully. So, coming full circle, how do you find your niche? Why do most people not find their niche? You discover your niche by discovering yourself. Study those ahead of you who inspire you, reverse engineer their success, block out time for solitude, turn within, make time to get to know yourself. You are your ultimate project. Your niche is you. Your business is you. You are the project. Becoming your highest self is your life's work. But you only become your highest self by getting to know yourself first. When you act from a place of wholeness, self-acceptance, and authenticity, life will unfold beautifully for you and you will flourish inside the creator economy. With that, that's all I got for today. Thank you for listening if you made it to the end. If you're on YouTube, if you could like, comment, subscribe, would be helpful. If you're on Spotify, if you could give this podcast a 5-star rating and subscribe to the podcast, that would also be really helpful. But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll talk soon. Bye.